Hello everyone, welcome back to the Alchemy IAS Ncert live session. Am I clearly audible to you everyone? Yeah. Today we will continue with the Indian Polity Ncert session. The next chapter that we have to cover is from the Ncert 6th standard, that is chapter 3, what is government. So we have already covered in the previous session unit 1, it consisting of the two chapters. Chapter 1 that was dealing with understanding diversity, and the chapter 2 was covered in the previous session with respect to diversity and discrimination. Now coming to the unit 2, which deals with government, we have the chapter 3 government. So in this session I will explain what are the points relevant from this chapter for our exam perspective, UPSC perspective. In every year in UPSC exam, whenever you have observed the previous year, there was question with respect to the concept called government. In many years in 2019, 20, 22, in these years they have asked with respect to constitutional government. What exactly mean by, what does mean by when we say constitutional government? So constitutional government is also coming in our 11th Ncert textbook, but also some basic concept of what exactly mean by government is coming under 6th standard. So this is the relevance of this topic, and we will start with this chapter explaining in each paragraph what exactly it is explained. So this chapter starts with the summary of what are the area that this particular chapter module will cover. So I will underline if anything is important here they have mentioned. So this chapter explains what is government, that you can see in this summary here they have given in paragraph. What are the role that a government plays, how they take decisions, what they do, and the different types of government is also coming under this chapter. So what we will look into this through this chapter, one is what is government, what is a government, how do they take decision, what they do, all these aspects will be part of this chapter. Then it also cover the types of government, basic levels or the types of the government that we have across the world. So these are the basic major area that is covered under this particular chapter. So we will start with this first paragraph of this chapter. Before they start, they have given some kind of like placard here like you usually see, or some headlines in the news that you usually see. That is like government sought to protect right of unorganized workers. So government has certain responsibility to protect the interest of different sections of the people who work in a different areas. If they face any problem, the rights issues, if any violation of their rights issue, then government is there in order to protect their interest. So these headlines that usually we see in the newspaper. Similarly, like another title like detailed plan to tackle the flood soon, says government. Whenever any disaster event comes, whenever any disaster event, like maybe it could be earthquake, it could be flood, it could be even any pandemic situation, government is coming in place in order to address that natural or any other disaster events. So this also the way that government is responsible, government plays an important role ensuring welfare, protecting the life of the people even in a disaster situations. So these are the examples of the headline that we usually see where the government plays an important role. So here the starting an exercise is also for the student in a school level. They have given by going through this headline, and it was given a task for the student to identify what are the role that government plays in a different section. It could be economic, it could be political affairs, it could be social issues, it could be international issues. This is how government plays an important role. This is why we need a government. So the paragraph 1 is starting with a sentence that is every country need a government to make decision and to get things done. So every government, irrespective of the region or a continent, everywhere, every country in our world need a government to make the system, that society, the area that they have ruled, to make an order, to make a decision, to get things done, they need a government. Then only everything will be in a proper manner, and they are taking decision in order to ensure the welfare. For ensuring the welfare, sometimes we have seen the road built by the government, the schools are constructed by the government in order to ensure access to education, to reduce the prices of the onion, even a price increase. For example, if an onion in our market previously the price for 1 kg onion was 30 rupees. But after some time, due to an inflation, due to the level of the price was increased, when you are going to the market at this period, the onion prices change, now it is rupees 40. If no action was taken in order to control the price of this onion, because this is our part of the food, so this is related to the food inflation, these are the topic that we will study in Indian economy. Anyway, this was an example given in this paragraph. If any price increase with respect to this onion, it will directly affect the common man, because they have to spend more money for their food. It will directly resulting into their economics, accessibility, affordability. Again, they will fall into a situation, it is a problem for a government if they are not addressing properly. Poverty issues will be there, hunger issues will be there. So there are direct or indirect connection to this issue, so that government should be prioritize their policy strategy in order to control the prices of an onion is an example. Recently we have seen examples of the tomato price was increasing, again we are concerned. So these all the inflation, the topic that we will study in an economy, inflation, controlling inflation, monetary policies, this is also part of the government, like banking institution like that we have in India, Reserve Bank of India is another example. This is the way that when such things are too expensive, government will take an action to control it, and also sometime increase in supply of the electricity, because access to electricity is also part of the government policy. These are the way that government take decision either for controlling or for enhancing or expanding its policy perspective for the welfare of all the sections. So here other more examples are being given, like social issues, including social issues like when government make any schemes or program that will help the poor to alleviate their poverty situation. This is how the government ensure welfare of all the sections of the people. So that's why every country in the world require a government, then everything will be in a proper way, then only then the things that they want to be done will be done in a proper way. This is why the government is there in playing a major decision. And this paragraph is continued explaining more about the role of government, not only in perspective of domestic affairs. You can also see that it has a certain role in protecting the boundaries, especially with respect to India. We know that we have many important problems, security issues in our border region, specifically the western border, northwestern part of India and the eastern part of India, where we share border with Myanmar, where we share border with China, where we share border with Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan. So India has its own neighborhood, but in some neighbor countries we have some conflict because of the historical reason, political reason, some geopolitical reason. We are familiar with that Indo-Pak issue, Indo-China war was happened in 1962. After that also we had many border dispute with China, border dispute with Pakistan, issues over the Kashmir. So here is a situation that we have to ensure border security. Recently also coming in now recently, you have seen in the news with respect to Kashmir issue, Jammu and Kashmir, there are more terrorist infiltrations are coming, security issues are coming. This security threat is also a major problem for a government. So the government will work for protecting its border security, for deploying the military forces and paramilitary forces. Similarly, we will also maintain a good relation with our neighborhoods, other countries in international levels, where government to government relations, multilateral level, regional level, we will form association, will be part of that, the organization. Through these international institutions also we will maintain a peaceful, a secured relationship that will be a benefit for us as well and the benefit for them as well. So this way we will maintain the international relation with the other countries, also a role played by the government. We will also address the problems of the hunger, we will also address the problems of the health. We will also address whenever such a situation like natural disaster, already I have mentioned that, like tsunami or earthquake, any cyclone happens, maybe any pandemic like COVID-19 that we had earlier. In this situation, government will come in this place and will protect the interest of the people, those who are affected. Including, you can see here, if any person were committed into any crime or action, because one person committed crime will affect the another person's rights, then we will approach the judiciary. Judiciary will examine the case. If judiciary found that there is a violation of the rights and there is an act of the crime committed by one person or a group of person, then the judiciary will make a judgment and they will be punished according to the law. So here judiciary will also be part of, the court is also part of the government. It is not necessarily only the Prime Minister or the ministers are only part of the government. The judiciary itself is also part of the government in order to ensure justice to all the sections of the people when their right is violated. This is how a government, because in Indian polity we mostly study of the system of the government that we have in India. So these are the topic very much relevant here, the role of a government that we have to study. I hope you have understood. Now moving to next paragraph. Perhaps you were wondering how government manage to do all these things, why it is necessary for them to do, and when human beings live work together, there is a need to be same amount of organization, then only the decision can be made. Because government is required, because there will be lot of area that an organized way society, because people are coming together, living together in a territory region, where if we form a group of people are responsible to govern the system, then through this system and order, we can ensure the decisions are taken properly and the issues are addressed properly, then only the system will work in a proper way. This is why we need a governments. So this paragraph end here, and also we can see here some task has been given to the student here. Can you list 3 things that government does which have not been mentioned in this above paragraph? Any role that government is taken or government is already taken or other issue that government should address, such area we can list here. Then these were the exercises given to the school level students. Anyway, we will come back to next one. Some rules have to be made in order to govern a system. Some rules have to be made that apply to everyone. So whenever any rules are made by the government or regulations made by the government, then such rules and regulation will be applicable to everyone. Everyone has to follow according to that rule. For example, the example given here was a need to control the resources, and in order to protect the territory of the country, people can feel secure. So when government make rules that you cannot do this, you can do only, everything is fine, network is fine, I hope. So if you take an example of the government of India, so we have a definite territory. So I am not able to draw a map here. I hope you can imagine. We have a geographical territory. Within this territory we have in different areas, different region, different state, different districts. So all these sections of the people living in India are part of this government, and there is a government formed at this also and the state level also. So these government will work for the welfare of all the sections. So this definite territory is also will be there. So whoever is living in this territory and their right and the interest of these people, the welfare of these people will be the priority of the government to achieve these goals of government. So government will make rules and regulation. Accordingly, a system will be formed. A system here, just a second, I am just ensuring this PDF is fine. Yeah. So we have a map here. We know that when we take an example, when we say government, we don't have just one government. We have different levels of the government. So we know that for entire territory of India, a powerful government is there, which is located at the center. We have capital Delhi. So we have a central governments. So we have a central government here, central government, that is one level of government. Then below because since we are following a federal form of government, federal form of government means there is a division of the power between 2 levels or more than that levels. So here also in India we follow federal government. We can see central government will be there, and there is also state governments. So we have states. You can see like Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Bihar, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, like these are the states. Other than the state, you also have union territory like Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir, then Delhi is a union territory. Like that we have also have a union territories. But we have, when we consider the level of a government, we have at the central level, we have at the state level, we have a government, and also other, we have village level, local level, we have local self-government in India. So we have 3 levels of government. One at the central level, second at the state level, and third at the local level. So this is what explained in this paragraph regarding the level of the government that you can see in India. So that is this paragraph mean by. So local level means it is in our village level, town level, local level, district level. Then state level would mean by it cover the entire state that we belong to, like Haryana, Assam. Then what exactly mean by national level government means the entire country. At the central level, they are governing the entire system of this country, the territory that they have, mainly defense, like communications, printing currency, etc. will be the responsibility of the central government. So each has their own responsibility and the matter they will be taking. So according to these, the power they enjoy, the responsibility which they have given. For example, another map is also here in the Ncert. these are the districts level map of India. So each state map, when you observe in detail, you can also see the district level map boundaries also. So you can also identify where you are exactly located in which state and which district that you belong. For example, Alchemy IAS Institute is located in our Kerala, where this Alchemy IAS Institute is located in a district in Kerala known as Kozhikode. Previously, during the British or European time, it was called as Calicut. So you know that Vasco da Gama, who arrived for the first time in India, was in the Calicut port, this Calicut region, which is also currently the part of Kozhikode district of the Kerala. So this is how you can also locate your district. Now currently we have how many states? 28 states, 80 union territories that we have. Then we also have, because we know that the Telangana state was bifurcated from Andhra Pradesh. Earlier we had a state Jammu and Kashmir, but Jammu and Kashmir again bifurcated into form two union territories, Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir. These changes were made. So the power to make changes, this was with the parliament, that you will study later when you are starting with the Indian polity in detail. Now coming to next chapter, next topic here, that is laws and governments. Already we have studied here with respect to the rules that government makes and why do we make rules. Similar way, in order to enforce certain rules or a system, government also make laws. The laws are made by, in India we have a parliament, legislature, house, and these houses of the parliament at the central level or at the state level, the legislature of the states can also make a law, and this law will be made in order to make the systems are administrated and run in an order in a better ways for the welfare of everyone, for protecting the interest of everyone. So when government makes a law, that will be applicable to everyone, that is every law will be equally applicable to everyone, equality before law. Already we have studied this concept in just mentioned in the previous chapter also, that is whenever a law made by the government will be applicable to everyone and everyone has to follow those laws. If anyone is not following such a law, whenever it was enforced, then government can punish them. When government laws are made and if somebody is not following the law, government will also enforce through a legal manner where punishment will be awarded to a person who is not following or not acting according to the law. For example, here in this paragraph you can see an example is given, that is an example given, there is a law that says that all person driving a motor vehicle must have a license. If any person driving a vehicle or a car or a scooty, so without a license, either they will get a punishment in the form of jail term or maybe some money of fine will be attracted. So this how the government will punish if anyone is not following the law according to the law. So that government will make law and also will enforce the law. If enforcement is ineffective, then there is no point of having a law. So government is taking the responsibilities to make law and also enforcing those law is also part of that. Enforcing the law. So effective enforcement, effective implementation is also part of this government when we say that. So this is how the system functioning in a proper way. Now moving to next. Here are some discussion point is given to the student. Discuss, think of an example of another law similar to the vehicle laws. Why do you think that it is important that people has to follow this law? These are the discussion has been given to the student. Next is, in addition to any action that government can take, there are also steps that people can also take the feel particular law is not being followed. For example, here they have given an example of equality of opportunity to the public employments. Whenever you are applied for a government job, for example, maybe this UPSC level exam, PSC level exam, but when you have applied according to the merit, you are eligible and you are qualified, but you have since you are qualified according to the merit, but they have denied your right to get that job because of religion is different, your caste is different. So these are discriminations. Since the law is applicable to everyone and there should be a prevention or prohibition of discrimination, but in terms of your equal opportunity to the government job, there was a denial of the right to job because of your caste and religion, then you will again go to the court of law to enforce the right that you enjoy. For example, we have fundamental rights. There are 6 fundamental rights, and the first fundamental right is right to equality. Within this right to equality, we have under Article 16 deal with equality of opportunity, that is equal opportunity into the public employment, government jobs. If anybody discriminated on the basis of religion, caste or birthplace, it is a violation of the fundamental rights. So, the affected person, affected citizen can go to the court of law and can challenge in court of law, then the court will ensure the right is, if it is violated, right should be restored. This way court will also be plays an important role in protecting our rights. So, the people also will participate in enforcing the law when such law is violated by any other person or an institution. The next, this chapter deal with the types of government that we have. So, that here when you read the types of government in this Ncert chapter, it starts with a sentence, who gives the government this power to make decision and to enforce law. So, we have studied what is government, how do they do and how do they make decision, for what purpose, and we have studied they are making law, they are also enforcing law, but who gives this power? According to the way that who actually gives this power to the government, according to that way we can also classify the government into different types. So, depending upon the types of government that we have, depending upon that the power will be given to this government. So, here start with an example of democratic government. So, when we say democratic government means the people are part of that system, the people through an election, through participating in an election, through enjoying the right to vote, that is participating in election and their choice is coming. So, with this people participation through a voting system, through an election, after the election is over, any party or any group of alliance which have secured a large number of seats in their parliament or legislature or in their system, or it could be an election of the president, but the people are part of that election and people choose their leader. When people choose their leader and they are also part of the system of government in terms of decision making, such a government we can say democratic governments. So, this is one type of government, democratic government. Here people are part of it, people form a government, but these governments are formed by the people through an election and this government will work for the people. So, it is the choice of the people here is important. With this choice of the people, a government will be formed. They enjoy the power. The power, who will get this power? Because in a democratic government where the people will decide who should be given this power. But there are other system of government that you can see that they are following a different type which can be called as monarchical form of government. In a monarchical form of government means the monarch, it could be king, it can be queen or king, who enjoy the power. People does not have any choice, they are belonging to the royal family. Based on the hereditary, whoever is next here will assume into this power. There is no choice, there is no any right with the people, they will decide all the decisions within this small group of the family of the royal family will decide everything, and the next king or queen will be within this family and based on the hereditary. So, this is how the monarchy system works and they enjoy an absolute power. Mostly when we say that monarchy power, they enjoy an absolute power, nobody can question, people cannot question, if anybody disagree with the king, they will be killed. So, whatever the way they will make laws and everybody has to follow, this is the way they enjoy the power. There is no election, there is no democracy, people does not have any choice here. The will of the ruler, whoever is the king or a queen, accordingly the system will be governed. So, this is how the monarchical system is ruled. Even today, even historical period, we have seen the many stories in previous history, ancient or medieval or modern Indian history also, you might have seen many countries followed monarchical form of government. Even today, for example, many of the West Asian countries, Middle Eastern states, the countries which they follow monarchy, for example, Saudi Arabia, UAE, these countries follow currently a monarchical form of government where there is a king or maybe queen. This monarch will enjoy absolute power in their system. Moving to next, types of governments. It's explaining the next throughout this paragraph is also regarding those aspects. So, here some discussion is given to the student, like we can just read the statement we are given here, discussion point which they have given here. Do you think it is important for the people to take involvement decision that affect them? Give two reasons. What type of government would you prefer to have in your place where you live? Whether you prefer democratic government, whether you give an answer in the live chat if you agree. Do you prefer democratic government or a monarchical form of government? So, these were the discussions. Inside has been given here, statement below is correct. So, then the third here is some statement are given here. Do you think the statement below are correct? If you feel there is an incorrection, any need to be corrected, and can you say that how it can be corrected? So, the statement 1 say that in a monarchy, country citizens are allowed to elect whomever they want. In a monarchy, country citizens are allowed to elect whomever they want. No, in a monarchy, no, there is no choice. Whoever is the next here in this family, the royal family, then they will assume into the power. The citizens of this country does not have any choice in deciding their leader. Then in a democracy, a king has absolute power to rule their country. No, in a democracy, whoever is appointed as a head of the government, maybe president or prime minister, doesn't mean by they have an absolute power. They are accountable, responsible to the people. If the people are not satisfied with the rule they governed by the prime minister or a president, then they will remove the whoever is leading that. So the power of the ruler, power of the government will be limited by the people through a law. This government is different from the monarchy, but in a monarchy there is an absolute power. There is no law limiting the power of a king or queen. In the next one, in a monarchy, people can raise question about decisions and monarch takes. In a monarchy, people can raise questions about the decisions that the monarchy takes. No, again there is no choice. People have to follow the way that the ruler who is ruling in there in a monarchical system. So such statements are wrong. So these are the statements nowadays that UPSC asks in our prelims examinations. So this is how we have to read this statement, need to identify which are the statements correct, which are the statements are incorrect. Like this kind of question can be expected in our prelims exams. Moving on. Next topic they have discussed in this particular chapter is with respect to democratic government. Already we have studied what exactly democratic government. Here they have example given with respect to how the system of government that we have in India and what system that we have in India, how the system government that we function here like this. So India we follow a democratic government. Here people are part of this election and choosing our leader. So but we are not following a direct democratic government. So when we say direct democratic government can be classified into two: direct democratic government, and another one is indirect, or we can say representative democratic governments. Direct governments, that is direct democracy, mostly will be suitable for a small level countries. They in terms of size, these countries are very small, like Switzerland. They follow direct democratic government, where people are directly part of the day-to-day decision making of the government. But in India, since we have having large area, large population, this will not be suitable. So that's why we adopted a type of democratic government which is called as representative democratic government. So here you can see in this paragraph, democratic government in our times usually refer to representative democracy. Here in a representative democracy, people not participate directly in day-to-day decision making. Rather, there will be an election, regular election. In India, election is there to the Lok Sabha, Legislative Assembly, after every 5 years. Through this election, you can see in these images also, people of India will go to the polling stations and they enjoy right to vote. Through this right to vote, which is also guaranteed under our Indian Constitution, Article 326, adult suffrage system, universal adult suffrage system. Adult suffrage system means that the person who enjoy right to vote in their election for choosing a government or choosing the democratic system, we know that the people participate here. It is the government of the people, by the people, for the people, according to Abraham Lincoln. Like this kind of statement that we have studied earlier. So same way, an election will be held in India because we follow a representative democratic government. An election will be held. In this election, from each constituency, we the people of India will elect our representative after the election, whoever is got the large number of votes, and this representative will go to, at the central level we have the parliament. So we have a parliament at the central level. So whoever is member of this parliament are called as MPs. Then if the election is there into the state level, then we have state legislative assemblies. The member of this assembly will be called as member of legislative assembly, MLAs. So we are part of this election directly. Through this election, we will elect our representative, and this representative will go there and they will make law from their number of seats secured by these MLA or MP. Accordingly, the political party who secure, because in election we have seen political party in India, we follow multi-party system. Many political parties are participating in the election in order to secure power. So which political party or alliance or a coalition got larger number of seats in these houses, the Lok Sabha or a state legislative assembly, then they can form a government in India. This is how the government in India are formed. So, we follow representative democracy. Now, we can go and read the remaining paragraph here. So, election process, then the representative meet and make decision on the entire population in their parliament. These days a government cannot call itself democracy unless allow what is known as universal adult franchise. Then it talks about the relevance and importance of universal adult franchise system. So, it also give an example of the old period, the historical period, the previous time that we had. In previous time, for example, can you believe that there was a time when government did not allow women, poor to participate in election? So, we had a time in India, in other world also we have seen the same story, where one section of gender belonging to the gender called women or female, they were not entitled to right to vote. Similarly, the people who do not have ownership of the property are coming under the poor sections of people are not enjoy the right to vote in India. Only who had a wealth, who had an ownership of the property, only men with an education, with wealth only allowed to right to vote in the earlier period. So, this was happening earlier, but after we got freedom, the leaders who the makers of the Indian Constitution was clear that whenever we make any right to vote at an adult suffrage system, it should ensure that every citizen of this country above 18 years of old, like every citizen of this country should be enjoyed, irrespective of the gender, irrespective of the caste, irrespective of the class. Everyone should be part of this democratic process, even though they are poor. They should enjoy a right to vote. So, this was mentioned even in Gandhi's journal, The Young India. So, I will highlight here. You can see highlighted here. A journal published by Mahatma Gandhi, Young India. In this journal in 1931, Gandhiji also has mentioned about the issue of right to vote was not given to the woman, not given to the poor. So, he cannot accept, that is, I cannot possibly bear the idea that men who has got wealth should have the vote, but that a man who has got character but no wealth and literacy should have no vote, or that a man who work honestly by sweat and his bro day in and day out should not have the vote for the crime of being poor man. It means like the poor sections of the people who belong, maybe men but belonging to poor section, and women who also part of this democratic process but was not entitled to right to vote, he was unable to accept the system, the unfairness that we had earlier time. So, with the contribution of all the leaders during the freedom movement, and also when we had drafted our constitution, our makers was clearly like ensured that every person, irrespective of every citizen of this country, irrespective of the religion, caste, gender, class, economy, that there should be a right that everyone should enjoy the universal adult suffrage system, right to vote. Then only we can say we are purely or good and a democratic government. Otherwise, we cannot say we are a democratic government. Then this page you can see here, it has given some exercise. So, these are the map that we have to refer. Earlier I have shown you two map of India was already attached to this chapter. So, it is an exercise to that. Next an exercise they have given in this chapter is with respect to, there are some statement is given. When you go through this statement, you have to identify whether it is a responsibility of local government, whether it is a responsibility of state government, whether it is a responsibility of the central government, like this. So, we have studied there are three levels of the government that we have, one at the central level, another one at the state level, then we have third level, that is local level. So, these are the three levels of the government that we can see in India. When there is a division of the power between these levels of government, it can be called as the federal form of government. Statement 1 we can take here. Statement 1. The decisions of government of India to maintain peaceful relation with Russia. Tell me in live chat, if anyone know that this will be the responsibility of which levels of the government? Can anybody say that? Is it local government maintaining relation with Russia? No. Recently our Prime Minister visited Russia also. It is not at all a responsibility of the state, but it is a matter, a responsibility, a matter that will be covered by a government at the central level, the government of India. That way the head of the government of India, Prime Minister, recently had a visit to the Russia and had an interaction. So, he seemed this way a central government will maintain the foreign relations. The next one, decisions of the government of West Bengal on whether to have board exam in class 8 for all government schools. So, this is a matter happening at the West Bengal states. So, this is the entire state related to a school's education. It is not, we cannot say that specific to local area. It is, since it is a matter of the West Bengal, it is a matter of the West Bengal state, not necessarily the central governments. Next one, third statement, introduction of two new trains between Dibrugarh and Kanyakumari. Dibrugarh is located in Assam region, that towards the eastern part of India, and the Kanyakumari. If there is a introduction of new train from Dibrugarh to Kanyakumari, so railway is coming under anyway this central subject. So this is not a matter of local government or state government, rather central government. Next 4. Decision to locate a common well in a particular area of a village. So this is a matter related to a policy, a decision with respect to taking a decision on common well in a local village area. So this is a matter of local village, it will not be handled by state or center, rather it will be a devolution of power will be there, decentralization power will be there. So at the local level, this policy designs, and according to the design and policy they will implement it. 5th one, decision to contrast a big children park in a Patna city. In municipality, town area development, it can also be called as local level, district administration, may not be handled by state or central directly. So then comes 6th one, the decisions of the government of the Haryana to provide free electricity for all its farmers. So Haryana states, introduction of a new 1,000 rupees note. So currency printing all are matter of central government. So these are the exercise by giving some statement here. Through this statement, we can, whenever you go through the statements also, you can also revise it by going through your own Ncert chapter. You can also practice this. This chapter is ending with a question few related to whatever we have studied here. We can also check what are the question here they have given. What do you understand by word government? List 5 ways in which you think the government affect your day-to-day life. Already in first paragraph we have studied the word government mean by a system of a government well organized within a geographical territory, and with this government they will govern the system of these people who are living in this territory. The 5 ways we have studied: economical perspective, social issues will be addressed, natural disaster whenever occur, the life of the people will be protected. So this way the government will take responsibility through that way. Why do you think that government need to make rules for everyone? So we have studied the importance of making laws, making of rules in order to enforce it. Then only the system will be functioning in a proper way. Then government will be able to take decision properly, and whatever the thing they have to do, it will be done in a proper way. Name 2 essential feature of a democratic government, that is mainly election, people participation. So if this government in a democratic government is not doing anything for the welfare of the government, the people will have a right over this. So the election is the most thing. Whenever we conduct election, this election should be an inclusive election that everyone is participating, and that election also will be fair and free. Next is what was suffrage movement, that is under suffrage movement. There is one note is given, because earlier period women poor section were not given and entitled to right to vote. So these were the discrimination, inequality that we faced earlier, but with this movement of universal suffrage system, for example, even World War period, including Europe and US, where women were not even entitled to vote, only men were enjoying these rights, because there was a gender role. Whatever the political decision, formation of government was only responsibility of a man. Going for a war, taking decision, making laws were given responsibility of men, and women were told to work at home. This gender discrimination was there. So people fought against that through this fighting, through this movement, through this suffrage movement. Then later the world recognized the relevance of adult suffrage system, giving right for vote for everyone, irrespective of gender, irrespective of the caste, irrespective of the discrimination everyone face. So Gandhiji's strong observation. Next question was with respect to Gandhiji's observation regarding the right to vote. Gandhi strongly believed that every adult in India should be given right to vote. However, few people don't share this view. They feel illiterate people who are mainly poor should not be given right to vote. This we had earlier. What do you think? Do you think this would be form of discrimination? Give 5 points, support your view, and share within the same class. So these are the points that already we have discussed in this session. With this, the chapter is over. So we will continue with the next chapter in the next session. I hope you have understood this chapter. So what we have studied today, what is government, why do we need a government, and what are the role played by the government in order to make decisions, how they are making rules and law, and the importance of law, how they are enforcing the law. If anybody not following the law, they will be punished. Then we have studied the levels of the government at the central level, state level, and the local level. And we also have studied the types of government: monarchical form of government, democratic democratic government. So this way the statements that they have given in the exercise we are also practice. I hope everybody got the point related to what is government. This chapter is very much relevant for our prelims and mains perspective. If any mains question they have asked with respect to basic concept of government, role of government, then this point we can use it in our exam. Similarly in prelims they might have asked the types of government like monarchical government, democratic governments. Thank you for all for watching this video. We'll come back with more chapters in the upcoming. If anybody not yet subscribed to this channel, you can subscribe, and we have live sessions not only for Indian polity, we have YouTube live NCERT classes for the science and history are going on. You can also watch those videos. If you have not watched yet the Indian polity previous chapter, you can also refer and go through this playlist of Indian polity NCERT classes. You can go through and watch it. Thank you for all watching these classes.